Welcome to the Christian season of Advent. It's a time of waiting and watching and wondering. And the story that I'm going to tell you today is a true story from Eleanor Abraham, an amazing lady I met when I was living in Oregon. And the story that she shares takes us back 100 years ago. I will tell it like she told it to me. The Christmas that I remember the most was the year our beloved neighbor bachelor, Johnny Gerbing, brought us the most wonderful, precious gift we had ever seen. It was 1917 and I was 8 years old, and I was so excited about Christmas. Who wouldn't be? Father had put up a 4-foot fir tree in the corner of our too small living room, and we had carefully decorated it with hand-blown ornaments in the shape of animals. They had come all the way from Germany, where our relatives were. We also put cones and bells and lighted candles on the tree, and I prayed that the tree wouldn't catch on fire, because one year it did, and Father had to take out our beautiful tree and throw it out the door into the snow to put out the flames. Christmas was so special. Mother was busy in the kitchen preparing our holiday meal, which would either be roast chicken or ham from our smokehouse. But she did have a special recipe, and she was busy cooking that on the wood stove. It was her huckleberry dumplings, and she had to boil the dumplings in a oblong copper pot on top of the wood stove. And then she would take a jar of huckleberries off the shelf. We had picked those in the fall, and she had canned them and added a little extra sugar, and then she would pour those over her special dumplings. She also made soft-baked cookies and put them on plates for us to enjoy. It was late in the afternoon, getting very dark on Christmas Eve, and all of a sudden we heard such a racket outside. We thought, what on earth could that be? And so we peeked out the window, and there was our neighbor Johnny. He had attached cowbells to the horse and was riding up to our house. He got down off the horse, put the horse in the barn, stomped the snow off his boots, took off his hat, and then took a gunny sack, and he casually placed it under the tree. Well, we were very curious about this lumpy looking gunny sack. What could be in there? But we dare not ask, because that wouldn't be polite. Well, after dinner, we had to wash the dishes up and put each dish back in its place in the cupboard before we could retire to the tree room. Then each one of us received one gift from Mother and Father. Each girl received a handmade doll, and each boy received a 12-inch wooden cart. We thanked our Mother and Father properly, but we kept glancing over at the gunny sack under the tree with restrained enthusiasm, and finally, with a twinkle in his eye, Johnny said, "Well, let's see what we have here." And he took the sack, the burlap sack, and he opened it, and very dramatically, he pulled out a beautiful orange ball. But it wasn't an orange ball, it was a round piece of fruit called an orange. Johnny said, "Came all the way from California." We looked at it. It was odd. It wasn't like our pears or our peaches or our apples that we grew and canned in Washington State. It was rare. And then, lo and behold, he reached into the sack and he pulled out an orange for each of us, and he gave it to us. And we looked at it and we smelled it. Oh, it smelled so good, but not one of us took a bite, even though Johnny instructed us on how to peel the orange and eat it. We held on to it. We savored that orange, and we waited. And the next day, we took it to our neighbors, and we showed our neighbors our rare, precious orange. And our neighbors oohed and awed, for they had never seen an oddity like an orange that came from such a faraway place. It was almost a week before we decided to peel our orange and taste the savory sweetness of it. Oh, it was so juicy and so good. Who would have thought that a precious gift like this would come out of a common old burlap gunny sack like that from our most beloved bachelor Santa Claus named Johnny? A simple gift given and appreciated back 100 years ago. It reminds me of a story over 2,000 years ago when Jesus was born. And I think, who would have guessed that the most precious gift, most wonderful gift ever, would come to us wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a hay-filled manger? Doesn't it make you wonder